Well, here was something I didn't expect to fall into my lap this week. A demo of Mato Anomalies by Chinese developer Arrows. And I know what you're thinking, No. While it does bear some similarities in looks and some story elements, it does have a unique flair of detective work. Before we begin, it's important to note that this video is sponsored. Christmas time is upon us and your girl needs some money. I was given a key to the PC beta version of Mato Anomalies, a demo, which I roughly completed in 2.5 hours. This is not a review, rather a first impressions video of what they've done and the direction they're going. Fun fact, I also played the public demo, which gave a lot more context to what's going on in the beta demo, and to see what improvements were made. So a quick recap of the first demo is meeting Doe, rookie detective Doe. He's summoned by an old friend to look into something called handouts. You do some digging and you find yourself sucked into another dimension called a lair, and there are monsters inside known as bane tides. These are creatures that feed on extreme human emotions, and to some degree influence and sometimes shift their host's personality. Doe is powerless against the bane tide, but in comes Graham, a shaman who has the ability to fight bane tides. And that's the gist of the public demo. Now the beta demo I played starts you out on a hot lead. You're trying to get in contact with a man who joined up with the bigwig corporate bosses, or rather is underneath their boot and betrayed his own poor to middle class workers, merely to stay alive. After some snooping around and some tough interrogation tactics, the man cracks and agrees to help you take down the boss man, Rich, who's obsessed with being, you guessed it, rich. He's buying up all the small businesses and going for that sweet monopoly. But, like another certain game, people like Rich get corrupted by otherworldly beings, bane tides, and you have to go into that person's lair and defeat the big bad bane tide to restore them to their right mind. Rather than just having Doe and Graham, this demo introduces Butterfly, a feisty lady thief who has also been impacted by Rich. It feels like this segment of the demo is kind of her story arc about how she fights for the lower class workers and so on. Graham is still my favorite from both the demos. He's single-minded, he wants to fight the bane tides, that's it. They're a menace and they gotta go. And Doe is kind of adorable, joking around with Graham who is not having it, or trying to pry into Graham's shabby appearance. Being covered in bandages and tattoos means he's sure to have a story. Now the gameplay, I have to reiterate, this is a beta demo, and it very much felt like a demo. Way better than the first build, but still a demo. Mato Anomalies is a turn-based RPG that takes place in Mato, and these bizarre layers. First, there is Doe. He goes around collecting information. He's your main man while in Mato. Think of him like the brains of the operation. Use the navigation bar to guide you toward main quests, side quests. You can even make targeted side quests a different color. There's icons for shops and unique conversations. He talks to clients or interrogates leads by way of a card game. This is my least favorite part. Rarely am I a fan of card games, and while for some it can be a refreshing pace breaker, I just wanted it to end. I think I was just awful at it. Pretty much, you're trying to break someone's mind. You have persuasion cards and defense cards. Defense cards protect you from incoming damage, and persuasion cards are the damage dealers. Now, you have to face off against some of their inner demons, who grant your opponents different boons, or you debuffs, like removing cards in your hand, or reducing your first attack card's power to 0. The goal is to get their HP to 0, and you'll probably want to get rid of the demons first, because they will be a thorn in your side. Oh, and did I mention, they return after 3 turns, so you'll want to know when to be on the attack or the defensive. Now, what I find so fascinating is that there are dual protagonists. The game makes a point to show you that Doe is useless in these layers. An ordinary gun holds no power here. But Graham, the shaman, along with Butterfly, can handle bane tide. Now, it's heavily implied that you'll get other party members later, especially when I scoped out the trailer footage to see new faces that weren't in the demo. Unlike the card game, the turn-based battle system was where it's at for me. It's pretty straightforward, save for a few standout deviations. 1, party health instead of individual health. 2, rather than mana, there are turn cooldowns. So if you use a special skill, you have to wait X amount of turns before you can use it again. Which I like, way more interesting than, oh no, I'm low on mana, let me just drink an MP potion. I appreciate a droplet of depth, and it makes the player pause before spamming their best moves. Something to note, cooldowns don't reset after every battle. That would make the game way too easy. And I say this because aside from the card game and this demo's final boss, I wasn't too pressed. On top of all this, there's a turn bar to see the turn order and how to better place your moveset. There are weakness and resistance systems. The primary types of attacks are crush, pierce, and slash. You can see who is resistant and weak to what after a few test attacks. You always want to hit the weak point for additional damage. Also grateful for an auto battle feature, and of course, ultimate attacks, which you'll be able to use after dealing enough damage.
Your doom is near.
Overall, I liked where they're going with the combat, though I wish it felt more rewarding and a bit speedier. After beating these baddies, you gain experience and level up as a team. This is how you learn new personal skills for your character. You also gain resources for gears, which give you additional bonuses to your stats. Talent points are also used to beef the team up. Then there are the layers themselves. These were lacking for me. It's clear that they had a vision. You know you're going into a money-hungry man's lair, and I see where they're going. But playing through, it's very humdrum. You walk around narrow paths, occasionally you reach a room with a tide inside. Battle it and keep going. Good news, no random encounters. Bad news, it's repetitive. They do add switches that open paths and other dangerous hindrances, but nothing particularly thought-provoking. Like, oh, how do I get through this path? There's a switch on the other side of this demon room. Defeat the Bane Tide, hit the switch, yay, I can proceed. I'm hoping with later dungeons they ramp up some of the puzzle-solving elements. But you know, it's just a demo. Something I saw in the first demo that I hope they consider were different types of rooms. Originally, there looked to be plans of a monster room, aka fight a monster, bonus rooms, and trap rooms. I think that would help shake things up. Now, the layers might not capture your attention, but the dreary vibe of Mato will. I've always been about bright and happy colors, but the dark and muddy tones of the lower layers of Mato really work well. And I like that different areas it can become brighter, and I quite enjoyed the crowded paths or dirty walkways. I love how lively it feels, even if it's like, you know, a sad look in life. It reminds me a lot of downtown Hong Kong. It's a really cool atmosphere, and I think something that the game excels at. Same with art. I like how gritty it looks. I love the bold, uneven lines, the change of expressions, or even the background art or still frames. They are so beautiful. Kudos to the art team. And lastly, the music and voice acting. I think the voice acting is hit and miss. I think sometimes the mouths and words don't line up. I do think there were a few times the voice acting was off, but I have a feeling there were stalls in the delivery because that's how they were directed to do it, to make the mouth movements line up a little better.
Where's my blade? I'm gonna cut you up real good.
Who gave you the orders?
The music is calming, very low-key. Even with the battle music, it wasn't as hype as much as it was mysterious.
Show me your work, Donatress.
But also can be jazzy, kind of giving that noir feel. Now, before I share my favorite tune, there is one thing I would like to see added, and it's the notice of sound design. When these coins fall, it's soundless, even when they fall on you. Saving or healing scrolls are silent, and this made me realize how important these little audio cues are. It's a small thing, but I believe would make all the difference. Now, as for my favorite track, this goes to the fancy hotel owned by your questionable friend Nightshade. The game is not out yet, so I don't know what this track is called, but hey, I like it. Mato Anomalies, the beta demo, is a fine foundation. I'd be excited to see it pushed more into the limit, expand on what it had in the first demo, and shake up some of the more repetitive parts. Mato Anomalies, at best, is a good outline, and it does leave a lot to be desired. And I fear many people would play this and wonder why they aren't playing another certain game instead. There is a first build demo live right now on Steam, just so you get a better idea of the story and less of the combat. It is slated to come out 2023, which has me a little nervous. I just hope it's the fourth quarter. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting what I do. I would hardly land any sponsorship gigs if it wasn't for you all holding me up. A big thank you for the team at Mato Anomalies for sponsoring this video. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to check out some of my other reviews and consider supporting me on Patreon. Appreciate ya. Mwah!